Hey YouTube, how's it going? Hope you guys are doing good. About let's say 2 years ago, I bought this battery powered Jeep from Amazon for my 3-year-old, and he's been using it ever since, and it's been good and whatnot, but it has always suffered from a lack of range and just power in general. So today I'm going to show you how to increase the range and the power output for this Jeep. And it's a super simple, relatively inexpensive modification that you need to do. So let's get on to it. So this Jeep originally comes with this 12 volt, 7 amp hour battery, and it's a sealed lead acid battery. I mean, it's tiny. It served its purpose, but my 3-year-old kept on growing, so I needed something that could provide more power for a longer time. So I ended up buying these 12 volt, 12 amp hour batteries from Amazon. You can see it's connected right here. It's a 12 amp hour battery, and the Amazon seller sells these in sets of two. So it's 12 amp hours. They're both connected in parallel, giving me 24 amp hours. And I basically went to almost 3 times I guess, the range for this little Jeep. The Jeep used to last maybe 25 minutes or so, depending on the terrain. I mean, if you put it on the grass or something, it just wasn't enough. Or it was using too much power and it would just die like around 15-20 minutes. So now with this 24 amp hour battery pack, essentially, the Jeep lasts around an hour. Haven't taken it out for longer than that. I'm pretty sure it would last longer than that, but it's been about an hour with my kid on there, taking it on the grass, up hills and whatnot. So it's been good, and I'm going to show you now what I did uh, in order to connect these two batteries in parallel to, I guess, to retrofit this Jeep. So you can see here, I mean, I've got lots of cables going around, but essentially, I took the cable that was originally connected to the small little 7 amp hour battery, right? So I took that cable and extended it. So now this cable is connected to here, these thermal switches, which I'm going to explain a bit later right now. So it's connected to these thermal switches and then connected to this battery right here, and then connected in parallel again to the second battery over here. And I'm going to put up a diagram so you guys can follow how this thing should be connected. And now the ground cable, or the negative cable that was originally here, you can see it already had two cables spliced together, so I ended up just making it longer so that I could connect this battery and this battery together. So both grounds from both batteries are connected together to the black wires going into the Jeep, and both positive terminals on both batteries are connected together going into this thermal switch into the Jeep again. And that is essentially what you have to do in order to connect these batteries in parallel and provide double the amp hour rating for your electrical system here. Now, I have the original power switch for this Jeep, and it charges the batteries. It just takes longer because if you look at this, this is an output. It says 12 volts DC at 1000 milliamps. So that's at 1 amp. We've got 12 volts at 24 amp hours. So that means that this guy is going to take around 24 hours to charge these batteries, where it used to take only 7 hours to charge this single battery. So you give and take a little, but if you're going to keep on using your charger, your original charger, you can totally use it. It'll just take longer. You got to remember that. Now, what I ended up doing was getting a 12 volt 6 amp car battery charger, and this charger, as I said, has a 6 amp charge rating, so it charges these batteries in around 4 hours. So these guys you can just connect to positive and negative on one battery. What I try to do is just connect one terminal here and the other one on the other battery to kind of balance the load. And you can see that it says it is charging. So this guy's charging, and it's going to charge in around 4 hours and get these batteries up and ready for the next time the kiddo wants to use his Jeep again, which nowadays seems to be like every day. My 3-year-old son weighs about 40 pounds, and my 2-year-old daughter weighs about 20 pounds. So in total, both of them come out to about 50 pounds. And this Jeep can handle both of them either on the Jeep at the same time, or it can handle my 3-year-old on the Jeep right here, and my 2-year-old being essentially towed by my 3-year-old in this little Tykes car. And this Jeep can handle that, and you have to do a simple modification in order to get that to happen. So remember how I showed you guys these thermal switches before? So these guys are essentially circuit breakers, and whenever they get overheated, they cut the power from the batteries to the Jeep in order to protect the motor. So it thermal cuts off, and it stops power from going into the Jeep. So I had to upgrade the ones that came with the Jeep. I'm not sure you guys can see that, but these guys are 15 amp thermal switches. And I believe the ones that come on here are 7 amp. The original ones are 7 amps. So I got 2 of these that are 15 amps each, and put them in parallel so that it could provide 30 amps of power if needed. And I've been using them like this for 2 years, and nothing has happened to the Jeep. It's been great. Nothing has melted, or no magic smoke has been released. So trust me, these thermal switches are nowhere rated to what they say. I mean, they're cheapo brand, and the 7 amp ones that came on here originally would just turn off at around 3 to 4 amps. They would just go into thermal protection mode, so they would just cut the circuit. Anytime my kid would drive over grass or up a small hill, or if I decided to put my daughter on here, it would just cut out, and it wouldn't be a good day. You know, kids don't understand why things don't work, so I had to figure out how to get them to work. So putting 2 of these guys in parallel, so 30 amps, or just a little bit more than I guess what this is rated, so that current could be used at whatever point or whenever needed. So now let's go inside, and let me show you what the circuit diagram for this looks like. I mean, all I used was some Spade connectors and some wire nuts and some extra wire to connect these batteries together and just retrofit it to this Jeep. Alright, so this is what the original battery electric circuit looks on this Jeep. So you've got the positive and negative wires going into the Jeep to feed all the motors, electronics in the Jeep. This positive wire is then connected to this 7 amp thermal switch. And then from the 7 amp thermal switch, it goes to the positive terminal on the 7 amp hour battery. The negative wire in this coming from the Jeep goes directly to the negative terminal on the 7 amp hour battery. What I did was I updated the 7 amp switch to two 15 amp switches, which gives you 30 amp power capacity, and two 12 amp hour batteries. So you are going to essentially, let's get this tool right here, remove this. So let's delete that. And now you're going to add the two new 15 amp switches and the two new 12 amp hour batteries. So let me draw that up and I will show you what it looks like. Alright, so this is what it ends up looking like. So you've still got your Jeep, but now you've got these two 15 amp thermal switches and these two 12 amp hour batteries. These red circles are points where you will need to either solder the wires together or use some wire nuts to bring all the wires together. These black circles are the same thing, but for the negative wires, so the black wires. Right now you've got your original cable coming from the Jeep, positive wire, the red wire, going to these two thermal switches, 15 amp in parallel, bringing you to 30 amps. Each terminal connected together on both sides, right? And now, from here, going over to the 2 amp hour batteries, which are now connected in parallel. So, positive to positive, and then negative to negative. This negative cable or wire is going to go over to the original black negative cable in the Jeep. And this new circuit will provide double the power and double the range for the Jeep. Now, these are the items I got from Amazon in order to make this thing work. So I got a 12 amp hour SLA battery. This one's from Amazon. It's a Wise. I can't find the brand that I bought years ago, but any should be fine. This is a 2-pack. You can see right there. It's going for $48.99. Then you will need the two thermal switches, the 15 amp thermal switches, connected in parallel. So here we go. I found this one. Oh, look, same one. So I found this one, and it's going for $7.99. I also used some Spade connectors, which I already had. These, it's a 100 piece for $7.99. Now, these wire nuts, I also already had some, so I just used mine, going for $5.85. And these will allow you to connect all the cables together. Now, this one, you'll need some 12 gauge wire or thicker gauge, whatever you want. This one is $11.98, a bit expensive for only 10 feet. One last thing, if you don't have some wire strippers, you can get some. You don't have to get a super expensive one. You can get some like these, and these will let you strip the insulation off the wires and connect the Spade connectors and do anything else that you need to do to bring these cables together. If you guys have any questions, please put them down in the comments and let me know. I'll answer anything that I can. Also, I will leave links to all of these parts and items in the description below. So, thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next one.